Well, hello, and welcome to the Cluebird. I'm your host, R. Wayne Browne. There's a moment when you begin to notice something. The same reason, the same old explanation, the same old story, repeating itself over and over again. And after a while, you realize something uncomfortable. The obstacle you're dealing with may not be the issue anymore. It may be your excuse attached to it. This is the Cluebird, whispering sage advice for those willing to listen. Excuses are strange things. At first, they feel protective. Oh, yeah. They soften disappointment, reduce responsibility, help us explain why something didn't happen. And sometimes they even sound reasonable. I didn't have enough time. Oh, I wasn't ready. The conditions weren't right. You've heard them, probably used them. But over time, excuses quietly become dangerous because every excuse carries a hidden message. This part of my life is outside of my control. And once people begin believing that, they slowly give away their power. I remember during flight training, there were always opportunities to make excuses, and I was pretty good at it. Bad weather, fatigue, pressure, and sometimes those things were real, but instructors had a way of cutting through it. After a difficult flight, you might begin by explaining why things went wrong. The winds were difficult, the timing was off. My situation happened too quickly. Couldn't get it done, and occasionally the instructor might simply ask, well, what could you have done better? Not to embarrass you, not to ignore the circumstances, but to bring your attention back to the only thing that actually controlled by you, and that was in fact you. Your preparation, your decisions, your responses. And over time, you began to realize something really important. The pilots who improved fastest weren't the ones with the fewest mistakes. They were the ones who stopped defending their mistakes. Because ownership creates growth. Excuses create stagnation. This shows up everywhere in life, not just in difficult environments like flying, but in ordinary daily events as well. I know. I remember once talking with someone who kept saying they wanted to improve their health. Not dramatically, just some small changes. More movement, better routines, more consistency. But every week, there was a reason. Too busy, too tired, too stressed. Hey, maybe next week. And eventually you could tell they were frustrated, not because improvement was impossible, but because deep down they knew their excuses were becoming a pattern. Then one day something changed. Instead of saying, I don't have time, they said, I haven't made it a priority yet. And that single sentence changed everything because now their problem became honest. And honest problems can actually be solved. Little by little, their habits improved. Not perfectly, not overnight, but progress finally started the moment the excuses stopped protecting them. That's a difficult truth about excuses. Most excuses contain some truth. Life is hard sometimes. Circumstances matter. Unexpected things happen. Yeah, that's true. But the danger comes when explanation becomes your identity, when I had a setback quietly turns into, this is just who I am. And once that happens, people stop trying. Not because they lack ability, but because excuses slowly convince them that effort no longer matters to them. So the next time you hear yourself explaining why something isn't improving, pause for a moment and ask yourself honestly, am I describing the situation or defending my inaction? That question takes courage because ownership is uncomfortable. But ownership is also freeing because the moment you stop blaming everything else, you regain the ability to change something. Maybe not everything, but something, and something is enough to begin. People often think ownership feels heavy, but the truth is, excuses are heavier. Excuses keep people stuck. Ownership moves people forward. Because ownership says, this may be difficult, but I still have influence here. And that mindset changes everything, not instantly, but steadily. So here's your clue. Excuses protect your comfort, but ownership builds your future. One keeps you safe temporarily, the other helps you grow permanently. And growth only begins when honesty becomes stronger than explanation. No one improves by pretending life is easy, but no one improves by constantly explaining away their responsibility either. At some point, growth begins with a simple decision. No more excuses. Not perfection, not self-punishment, just honesty. Because when you finally take ownership, you stop waiting for life to change first. And you begin changing yourself instead. This is the Clue Bird, and the voice you're learning to trust might just be your own. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I sincerely hope that you got something useful and positive out of our discussion today. If you did, be sure to subscribe and hey, tell your friends. Oh, hot tip. Until our next visit, I'd like for you to think about what consistency, the quiet advantage, means to you. Oh, take your Clue Bird out for some ice cream.